Let's stop pretending this wasn't engineered. The league tried to handcraft a blockbuster rivalry, slap a glossy filter on it, and cash out. Fans aren't crazy. You felt the seams. The plan was simple enough to pitch in a boardroom. Caitlin Clark brings the audience, Angel Reese brings the attitude, and together they create a season-long headline that sells shoes, ratings, and 100 think pieces. That was the script. Here's the news, the centerpiece moment. All-Star Weekend doubling as Angel's first Reebok shoe coronation collapsed the second Clark was injured and didn't show. One no-show didn't just leave an empty seat. It blew a hole in an entire strategy. And that's where this gets expensive, because the hype machine doesn't run on vibes. It runs on delivery, and it ran straight into reality. You clicked in for the real story behind the PR glitter. So let's deal in what matters now. Stakes? They're not subtle. Sponsors lined up because they saw momentum and metrics, not nostalgia. New fans, many following Clark from college, were ready to become lifers. The W is pushing from niche to mainstream, and moments like an all-star shoe launch are supposed to harden casual curiosity into habit. Miss a beat here, and you don't just lose a weekend. You teach your newest viewers to tune out. I've been tracking how these fan cycles behave for years. When the product doesn't match the promo, the audience punishes the brand fast. Keep listening, because over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you 3 things the sanitized summaries left out. How a rivalry built in a lab buckled under game night gravity, why one bench spark named Chloe BBBY suddenly has the crowd's attention, and what a shoe company does when the campaign hero starts trending for missed layups instead of made statements. Hold that last one. We'll come back to it, because the decision behind those doors tells you everything about where the story goes next. First, the second best point, the marketing one that everyone felt even if they couldn't name it. Reebok timed Angel's shoe rollout with military precision around All-Star. Photos, content, cross-interviews, Reese and Clark in parallel lanes, building the illusion of inevitable collision. Couldn't book Caitlin? No problem. Surround Angel with Caitlin's orbit. Magazine spreads. Podcast crossovers. Side-by-side mentions. If we can't get the sparring match, we'll at least stage the stare down. That was the bet. But association isn't admiration, and audiences aren't mannequins. Fans were watching both players with a magnifying glass and keeping score on different scoreboards: performance, personality, promise. When Clark went out injured and didn't touch the All-Star stage, the lights dimmed on a party designed for contrast. The rivalry portion of the launch vanished, leaving only the marketing. And without the friction, the honest, earned tension of 2 stars pushing each other, the rollout felt staged. A selfie without the other person. You can crop the frame. You can't fake the feeling. Now the strongest point, the on-court one that fuels everything else. Angel Reese is a machine on the glass. That's real, that's repeatable, and that travels. But finishing at the rim? It's been rough. Not one clip, not one night, patterns. Missed layups turned into montages. Wide open bunnies spinning out like a bad 2K glitch. And when your campaign slogan whispers dominance, but your feed is filling with bloopers, the brand synergy phrase. Commentators started biting their tongues, then stopped. Analysts noted the same handful of issues: hesitant finishes, avoidable fouls, moments where college confidence turned into pro-level overreach. Meanwhile, Clark, love or hate the headlines, has been delivering the very currency this new wave of fans came for: pace, range, composure, and the kind of timing that makes a regular possession feel like a trailer for something bigger. Her absence didn't kill the league, obviously, but it exposed how much weight the league and its partners had quietly loaded onto her presence to make the whole tableau pop. When she wasn't in the frame, the contrast fell flat, and Angel's struggles looked even louder. Quick breath. Because here's your pattern interrupt. While the marketing was rearranging cutouts on a stage, game reality kicked the door in. Enter Chloe BBBY. Not a billboard. Not a brand rollout. A player. A jolt of pace when the fever needed oxygen. Shots that drop. Spacing that matters. The kind of accuracy that flips a fourth quarter from anxious to electric. She's not the headline the campaign wrote. She's the subplot fans start rooting for until it becomes the plot. And the minute a bench spark makes the arena lean forward, a new, awkward question floats over everything the PR team built. What happens when the organic moment starts outshining the manufactured one? Hold that, because we'll loop back to it when we talk about allocation, attention, minutes, marketing, all of it. Let's go back to expectation versus reality, because that's the backbone of the saga. Expectation. You can bottle college energy, pour it into the pros, and the same arcs will unfold. same villains, same heroes, same results. Reality. The W is a different animal. Defensive rotations punish half-beats. Scouting eats habits for breakfast. 3 missed layups in college is a rough night. In the pros, it's a weekly trend if you don't fix the footwork, the angle, the gather. Expectation. Make the rivalry bigger than the games, and the games will grow to fill the frame. Reality. When one pillar is hurt and the other isn't producing at the level the billboard promised, fans don't suspend disbelief. They hit mute. Expectation. You can stand next to star power and borrow its light. Reality. Light exposes as quickly as it flatters. And yes, social media did what social media does. Cruel edits, circus music overlays, split screens of Clark hitting from the logo next to Reese bricking a bunny. Fair? Sometimes not. Viral? Absolutely. But virality isn't just meanness. Sometimes it's pattern recognition at scale. When the same mistake keeps repeating, the algorithm treats it like a beat. And brands hear that rhythm whether they admit it or not. That's why you felt the promo machine go quiet. Fewer glossy photo dumps, less thunder around the drop timeline, a suspicious hush where the countdown clock should have been ticking. Officially, nothing to see here. Optics, though? They were screaming recalibrate. Now, let's close one of those early loops. The lab-built rivalry. Was it accidental? Please. The contrast was made for marketing decks. Midwestern shooter versus Southern swagger, reserved versus outspoken, clean cut versus glam. You could practically see the color palette and taglines. But rivalries only sing when both sides hit their notes on stage. With Clark out and Reese searching for rhythm, the melody turned to feedback. Fans didn't just lose interest, they redirected it. That's how Chloe BBBY slipped from footnote to highlight. She didn't come with a trailer. She arrived with makes. She didn't need a narrative. She created one. And when a crowd senses truth, it migrates toward it. Fast. Zoom out with me. The WNBA isn't a scrappy underdog asking for attention anymore. It's a business with a rising graph. Attendance is up in key markets. Streams are finding new watchers. There is real money on the table, broadcast partners, apparel, community programs that stick. And when a product pushes beyond its base, there's a temptation to shortcut the hard part with spectacle. Personalities first, performance later. Instagram captions over in-game chemistry. It works for a week. It does not build a decade. If you want those new Clark fans to become WNBA fans, the league has to feed them actual basketball, not just clips, not just quotes, not just staged beef. Let the rivalries grow from games, not from storyboards. That's how you keep momentum when the star everyone came to see is in street clothes. You give them reasons to care about the rest, which brings us back to Angel Reese, because this is a crossroads, not a casket. She has tools people can't teach: motor, length, feel on the glass, charisma that pulls cameras like gravity. The fix is boring and brutal and beautiful. Finish through contact, simplify the touch around the rim, turn 2 wasted fouls a night into 2 extra defensive stands, punish a trap with a quick kick out and cut. Every small improvement flips narrative oxygen back in her favor. You know what would shut the edits up instantly? A stretch of 5 games where the layups fall, the turnovers drop, and the film looks patient instead of pressed. That's not a media plan. That's work. And it travels better than any tagline. Meanwhile, Clark's absence served a different kind of proof. Even injured, she was still signing, still meeting kids, still doing the unglamorous parts of stardom that make people believe the glow is earned. When she returns and drops a clean 30 with a couple from the parking lot, nobody will be shocked, because her arc didn't start with a billboard. It started in possessions. That's the model you can't duplicate with a whiteboard. Build gravity one game at a time, and let the brand catch up later. If you're Reebok, that's the case study you study twice. Do you double down and pray for a redemption arc that the court hasn't promised yet?